Perfect. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, this is MLS Ireland. Well, I'll be doing my predictions for week 4. We're getting into it. See you later. Perfect. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and this is MLS Ireland. Well, I'll be doing my predictions. If you're new to this, hit that subscribe button. And yes, it is officially St. Patrick's Day. And yes, I'm not in a bar. So take that as what you will. Anyway, yes, these are predictions. These are pretty cool, pretty all that, pretty far out, and all that kind of stuff. So I may as well crack on because there is a while lot of games on, and it is quite lit. And I probably should. Still, FC Cincinnati against Inter Miami. Now, FC Cincinnati, you would suspect after last year, kind of not doing all that great. They are currently 22nd. They won their last game against Orlando, which I didn't really predict. I don't think really many people predicted. So that's a good game for them. And that was away from home. Now they're coming up against an Inter Miami team who have only scored 1 and conceded 7. And their last home game was against a 2-0 loss against LAFC. So, their away game was, they lost that I believe too as well, against Austin 5-1. So, against the newly promoted team, I'm going to say anyway. FC Cincinnati, they are not a bad team, but I think Inter Miami is too good of a team to really be getting beaten this one. So I went for like a 2-1 win to Inter Miami. Just a far better team. Well, far better. Well, are they far better? They have far better names. God knows. Anyway, I went for 2-1. The next one is New York City FC against Philadelphia. Now, this one was going to be a trickier one. New York City just played there. Got beat on the night, but went through on away goals. So, congratulations to them. And they finally won their first game this season last week, and that was against Montreal. That was a 4-1 win. As for Philadelphia, they're not doing too bad. They're third in the league, only with the 1 draw, and that was at the start of the season. And their last 2 games against Montreal and Earthquakes, they've scored 2 goals, so that's pretty good. And their away game was 2-1 against Montreal. So I'll go for, it's a trickier one. I'll go for New York City for a 2-0 win for New York City. They're just, I know Philadelphia beat Montreal. Well, it's not hard to beat Montreal away from home, but still, New England at home are a pretty good team, and they kind of know how to play on that field. So yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-0. The next one is Toronto against DC United. Now, Toronto are not bottom, which is a bit surprising. And they're coming up against a DC United team who are definitely not bottom. They are 8th. They lost their first game in the season last week against the Chicago Fire at home, so which wasn't good. But their away game now against Toronto should be a good one. They are going up to Toronto in the nice cold weather, I believe. Probably is still cold. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to DC United. They're probably just still a far better team. Toronto are hopeless in the back, basically. So I'm going to go for like that. I don't really trust them defensively, so I'm going for a 2-1 win. The next one is LA Galaxy against Orlando. Now, LA Galaxy started off the season quite well, and then they lost their last game against Seattle 3-2, which is pretty... a couple of seasons ago, you would have suspected that, but they conceded 3 and scored 2. So it's not too bad. They're coming up against the Orlando team, who are, in my eyes, are started off the season quite well, and then they drew against Chicago away, and then they got beat by Cincinnati, which is not a good result. So that's probably the reason why I went for LA Galaxy to win 2-0. They're capable of scoring goals, LA Galaxy. Seattle are a very good team. Their start of the season doesn't really show that, but they are a very good team. So I went for like a 2-0 win to Galaxy. Should probably win that one quite easily. The next one is Atlanta against Montreal. Atlanta lost against Colorado Rapids 3-0, but that was away from home. And this is going to be their 3rd in 4 at home. Coming against a Montreal team who are bottom, which is not great. Conceding 8 and scoring only the 2, so that's not even that great. They're coming against an Atlanta team who are very good at home on plastic pitches. So we're going to go for like a 3-0 win. LA Galaxy should probably win this one. If Martinez is on game, they still have backup as Dom Dwyer, so they have it. probably should win that one easily. The next one is Chicago Fire against Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City haven't won a game yet. Drew against Columbus Crew, which isn't a bad result, but they were at home. Now this is they're coming up against Minnesota away. Sorry, Chicago Fire. What am I talking about? Chicago Fire against Kansas City. Where am I? I went straight to San Jose. What am I doing? Atlanta. They got beat by Atlanta, Sporting Kansas City, and then they beat Houston, and then they got beat by Colorado. So they're coming up against Chicago Fire, who are mid-table, I want to say. 11th. They won their last game against DC United. What am I talking about? Anyway, I went for like a 0-0. Chicago Fire, they only scored 2 goals, and then the other 2 games were 0-0. I'm not going to say they're scoring a lot of goals, but they're not conceding many, and that was against DC United, where they kind of kept a clean sheet because they haven't conceded any at the moment. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0. Sorry, I'm going to go for a 0-0 win on that one. The next one is Charlotte against New England Revolution. Now, Charlotte are the only team, the only other team apart from Montreal not to get a point yet. They conceded 6 and only scored 1, and they're coming up against New England Revolution, who got beat last night and got kicked out of the Champions League in penalties. But they're still a very good team, New England, even though that their record doesn't really show it. They drew against Portland, beat Dallas, and then got beaten by Real Salt Lake. So you know they're basically their heads weren't in it. So they're coming against a Charlotte team who are playing at home. They scored their first goal, I think, last week. Can be sure. Yep, against Atlanta. So it's pretty good. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to New England. They're still a far better team. Charlotte at home probably will make it a game, but I think New England are far too good for them. The next one is Minnesota against their San Jose Earthquakes. San Jose are not going to be great this season either. Minnesota won their last game against New York Red Bulls, which was a bit of a surprise to me, even though when they drew their last 2 games of that 1-1. So I'm going to go for a Minnesota 2-1 win. Minnesota should possibly win this. I'm just going off the back of their last game against New York Red Bull, who are a very good team. And San Jose is not all that great at the moment, so I went for 2-1. Obviously, the next one is FC Dallas against Portland Timbers. Now, Dallas, where are you? Dallas are 15th. They won against Nashville, which is a pretty good result. They got beaten by New England and drew against Toronto. And now Portland Timbers, where Portland are 12th. They beat Austin 1-0 and then drew against LAFC and New England. So I'm going to go for like another draw. I'm going to go for like a 1-1. FC Dallas could possibly surprise Portland, but Portland are still a strange team. This is probably where a game where you suspect them to get beat or suspect them to lose, and then they kind of do the opposite. So I'm suspecting them to draw in this one, so the opposite of that is drawn. So my theory is flawless. The next one is Houston Dynamo against Colorado Rapids. Houston now, I didn't really give them much praise last week to be winning against Vancouver, or I think I put it as a draw. But they got beaten by Sporting Kansas City and then Real Salt Lake before that. And now they're going to be coming against a very good team in Colorado who beat Sporting Kansas City and Atlanta in the last 2 games. But their last away game was at the start of the season. That was a 3-0 loss against LAFC. Well, Diego Vela, basically. Colorado should probably win this one 2-1. Houston probably will start the game off quite well, as they usually do, but Colorado are just probably too wise to the game, so I'm going to go for that. Probably just going to be an easy one. The next one is Real Salt Lake against Nashville. Now this was an interesting one. Nashville are always going to be a very hard game to play against. I know they haven't started off their season all that well. 4 points. Beat Seattle, drew against Minnesota away from home. Granted, they're all away from home at the moment, and then got beat by Dallas, which isn't great. And then Real Salt Lake are a very surprising team because you don't know where the hell they are, and that's no joke. They're 4th. Wow, they beat New England and Seattle, so that's very good results. I do think it's going to be a 1-1. I think Nashville are too good to be losing this one, so I'm going to go for like a 1-0. Real Salt Lake are doing very well. I haven't seen too much of them play this season, so I'm going to go for like a 1-0. The next one is New York Red Bulls against Columbus Crew. New York Red Bulls did get beat by Minnesota last week, but they're coming up against the Columbus Crew team, who I think are doing very well at the moment. Yep, they're doing very well at the moment. They're top of the league. Now, it is an interesting one. Their last away game was a 3-3 against San Jose Earthquakes. They haven't really played anybody big. Vancouver and Toronto, who aren't doing very well. They're coming up against the Red Bull team, who are a very good organised team. They probably just need a couple of goal scorers in their team. I don't think Lewis Morgan can really help them out all as much this season because he's only a midfielder, really. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to Red Bulls. I do think they have the capacity to beat a lot of teams this season. I do think they're probably a dark horse for the cup. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win. I just think they're properly run, and they run a lot. So yeah, going to go for 2-0. The next one is Austin FC against Seattle Sounders. I like the way I did that. Austin finally got beat. Well, not finally, but they got beat by Portland 1-0. And they're coming up against Seattle, and this is their third game at home in 4. Now they're coming up against the Seattle team. Like I said at the start, they're a very good team, and probably the first 2 results they always start slow, basically. So I do think it's going to be like a 1-1. I think Austin at home probably have the fans behind them. Seattle probably still have other things in their mind as in the Champions League, basically. So I'm going to go for like a 1-1 on that one. Austin are probably a pretty good team. And then the last one is LAFC against Vancouver Whitecaps. Vancouver, who are 25th. The only point they got is a home game against New York City. Got beaten by Columbus Crew and Houston Dynamo away from home. And this is going to be another one for away from home. And then they're coming up against the second best team in the league table. So yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to LAFC. They're just too good of a team to really... I'm watching them lose, probably. I want to think about that. Now, LAFC should probably win this if Diego Vela is fit and going. It should be probably an easy enough one for LAFC. Perfect. Those were my predictions. I hope you enjoyed them. And if you're new to this, hit the subscribe button. I probably have a Patreon down below. And I hope to see you in the next one. And bye now.